let me give you a vision.
Mm.
The idea in my head, and speaking to one of our guys, the company is called SCT that does a lot of business with us. They basically bring in all the containers from overseas for various clients, and more so as we go along. Okay? They have a unique tracking system where they literally track once you've placed the order where the container is in the foreign country, whether it's still in the factory or whether it's on the ship, and they literally track this right through the port until it gets to our warehouse, where we take over and we warehouse, and then when required, we transport to the South African client.
Right.
Okay. So there was this discussion saying, and I'm going to just paint you a picture, and I don't know, and just bear with me for a few minutes.
Absolutely.
The idea I wanted was to set up a server somewhere. I don't know where yet. This office, STC's office, doesn't matter. In which our data, in terms of inventory at code levels, in other words, each SKU, can be sitting on that server as well, and our sales summarized, not every single sale. We can just say you had X number of sales for the day, for example, will also be fed in that server, and other things as we come across them. At the same time, STC will be feeding their data into the same server. The idea being that eventually we will give an overall view to the client, so he can go onto that server and he can see where his container is, how much stock he's got, how much, what's left for him to place an order. And obviously we want the orders to be, how do you call it, automatic. I think last time we discussed this, you said you can place an order via email using a specific file, and then it converts into a pick slip. I think that's what you told.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's basically looking at that whole thing, and obviously must include scanning. So there's a company that is willing. They some very good youngsters. They're willing to be our guinea pig, and they understand there's going to be mistakes and all that. They say, well, let us be your guinea pig. Let's get scanning first, so that our job to handle. And let's get the electronic feed of our orders into your system first. Once we've got that, we see how we get the data from there to call it the Nuco server. And from there, we'll get STC to bring their data into Nuco server. And from there, we'll give trade house visibility of where their containers are and what's actually happening in the system. Basically that's sort of the overall plan.
Okay, all right, okay. So STC being I've got STC SA. Sort of make sure we're talking about the same STC. STC Southern Africa Marine and Logistics Experts.
Yes, absolutely. They're exactly that. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Cool. When you say your guinea pig youngsters, when the company, what do they do on your behalf? Or
okay, so the guinea pig company, you can Google it. It's the www. That Trade House Fund.
Trade House Fund.
Yeah, they call it the Trade House Fund. That's what they call.
Okay. All right.
These guys, what they do, so there's two guys there. One's called Dirk, one's called Josh. And what they do is they were part of Montague Logistics. They were very senior in Montague Logistics, which is a company that imports food, dry goods foods mostly, but all sorts of foods into South Africa and redistributes them.
Okay.
They broke away and they saw a model that they believe would work. So what they do is they approach companies in South Africa, and they have been very successful in doing so. And they look for companies that want to grow. So let's just take, for example, a real example. There's a plumbing company in South Africa that wants to find more growth, both in Cape Town and in Johannesburg.
Mm-hmm.
They will go and sit down with these guys, do a financing model, and they will finance the products that must come from overseas. They'll literally pay for them.
Right.
And these two youngsters own the product. That's their security, just like you do with a bank on your house. It's sort of the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So when they own the product, then they bring the product either going direct, if it's, let's say, steel, which is one of the big deals they've done. They take steel from the harbour directly to companies in Joburg, or if it requires some warehousing, they will bring it to us and we'll take over the orders, distribution, etc.
Okay.
In that way, the client, their client, doesn't have to panic. It doesn't have to go and find a couple of 5 million rand to increase the product line. He has to focus on, well, if you want to grow in Joburg, go and put your people in Joburg, get the growth going. Don't worry about getting the products there. We've taken that care through Ellen. Don't worry about the finances. We've taken that care through the fund. And don't worry about the shipping, because we've taken that care through SCG.
Right. Okay.
But this data will slowly become available to them as we build this data on the server, so the guys can put it. They're unique things, like we will definitely want an age analysis for the products, so that I can say, listen, I've got, let's say 7,000 wallets here, and brand A has not moved. Then you better get rid of it, because all he's really doing is incurring cost. He's paying for something sitting in a warehouse.
All about shelf life, yeah.
It's all about shelf life, all about turning that bin. They say if you turn a bin 4 times, if you turn a warehouse 4 times in a year, it's a good standard. That's what they say. So obviously we must go and aim for 3 times. Then the guy knows his products are flowing, his finances are working, and all's happening to the best of everybody's ability.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So that's where we want to head to.
Okay.
But prior to all that, we obviously got the barcoding is the one, and the electronic order system is the other.
Okay. Help me just understand a little bit more. The scanning side, I'm good with. We've got that whole part. Just the ordering side, because I know you guys sort of act loose terms, like as a warehousing middleman. So you don't actually invoice. You don't receive under conventional terms, receive an order and invoice for that order. Your business model doesn't work like that, as far as I understand.
No, we receive an order and then we dispatch an order.
Yes.
Yeah, we recreate it as a order on the system.
Yeah.
But with this, they will just send us an order. So this server will be visibility of their stock, and then they will create an order from there. From there, it'll push hopefully into Data Fusion, and Data Fusion will have this pending order that needs to be processed.
But what Russell's saying is that our system at the moment, we get an order, let's say it's an email.
Yeah.
We then take that order and capture it.
Yes.
Into a pixel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't.
And we're using Sage to do that. So John, just from your perspective, now that this whole transaction has gone through a bit of a life cycle, can you explain to me your logic on going with Sage? What was the choice for going that route? I'm asking this so I can, because I'm working with the entire picture from what Alan's also explained.
Ideally, I don't want to be with Sage at all. I think I've mentioned this before to you, but if Data Fusion could be a standalone by itself, and not having to do the extra steps in Sage and then duplicating it into Data Fusion, that would be first choice for us. Just to cut out Sage completely.
But Sage would be our financial package.
Yes.
Yeah, we have.
Yes.
So we
Sage financial. Yes. And if you're saying, can we do Data Fusion independent? In other words, Data Fusion warehousing. Yeah, no, I see no problem with that.
Okay, that's where I'm going with it. Is we now define that line much firmer, where Sage purely does the accounting, and all your stock management, because we do in Data Fusion or in a different platform. A reason being, you don't sort of receive an order and invoice that particular order. The invoice is an instruction for you to distribute or to move the goods to a different location, but you don't invoice on that particular one. You've got a completely different way of your invoicing system. Isn't your regular invoicing, somebody buys it, somebody sells it. Your business model is slightly different.
Russell, we don't use the financial side of Sage linked to our warehouse. We use them as independent systems.
Yes,
There's no actual link in our,
Okay.
and therefore you can have Sage Financial and Data Fusion standalone. You can have.
Is there a possibility to have Data Fusion completely standalone at this stage, or at what stage would it be?
Well, listening to Adam's thoughts, I've got another idea running around with another product, which is a far more substantial ERP system, which already has facilities like goods tracking, container tracking, and things like that is already built into it, which could be a good skeleton to start with for what your overall goal is. So, and the migration, because they're both our products, to move from Data Fusion to that from a back-end perspective and from what your guys' functionality perspective is not a train smash. And I'm really glad I recorded this, because what I'm going to do is go back and basically jot down the key elements of what you're looking for. What I'd like to do, like for Trade House and for STC, make sure they've got the little toolboxes that we would need to be able to talk to those systems. In our world, it's called an API.
Sorry, Russell. The SCT has already got the tracking of the containers. That's what they do. So we would just be sending our stock levels, price to this, say, a server where they're going to be hosting the data. Is there a way to do that? To send the data to another? You're going to know better than us. So I'm asking you. Is it possible?
The reason I was talking about STC is to basically get STC's information. In other words, where is that order currently?
Yeah. So we're breaking up a little.
To be able to have full traceability. It wasn't about sending to there. It's more about getting their data, so we know where your orders are. So you've got your order book sitting with them. Can we get that data so on our customer portal, people can see where those orders are? Or am I missing the understanding?
I think there's a missing somewhere, and I'm just trying to pinpoint it. So let me just think carefully. So we want to take our data. We want to remain totally independent. STC must remain totally independent. Trade House must stay totally independent, and we remain totally independent. Okay. We're not worried what STC wants to do. They do have quite a very good IT department. I must say.
Okay.
That can easily. They're quite comfortable that they will get their data from SCT into Nuco server. We're trying to get our data from DLD to Nuco server. From Nuco server, we will once it's there, we will decide how and what reports we need to show to the client.
Right. Okay. Sorry, I was creating a bit too much of an ecosystem. Yeah. I understand it's not as complex as that. Okay.
Yeah. Our simple requirements are: I want the supplier. I'm going to use the supplier. Let's call it LRB for the moment, right? Or our client LRB. They mail us orders at the moment. I want that to be able to go directly into Data Fusion. And do its magic and present us.
Well, into Nuco, from Nuco.
No, not into Nuco. It can go straight into Data Fusion. When it's finished, it can actually go back to Nuco.
Okay.
That's the way I see it.
Okay.
So it goes into Data Fusion and generates an order on our scanner. And we go and scan pick. That's basically what we want done for now, with the knowledge that once you've created the order and you've scanned pick, that data goes to Nuco, what do you call it?
Would it just update the stock levels, or
It would, yes, but it must. The data has to get to the new server, because I don't know what reports they want there. So our level, once it's updated, our stock levels is also going to be viewable from the client from Nuco. So he's going to see, oh, my stock has dropped. He's going to be able to see, I had 30,000. I've got orders in for 10, therefore available for sale is 20,000. That's what he's going to see. Not pricing and all that. That's got nothing to do with us. That's a fund house. They worry about pricing and things. Not on invoices. They worry about the cost of their product not moving. That's really what they're worried about. So they'll have a view. We won't see it. Fund house will give the client a view on a report saying that product came in at R1.80 per wallet, has been sitting there for 3 months. In fact, you've been paying, rental for that space. It's not R1.80 anymore, my friend. It's going on to R2.10. So he's got to sit down very quickly and say, I better run a special and get rid of it.
Okay, so what data would you need to send? Just stock levels then?
Well,
because you'll be...
I can't tell you all, but I'll give you a brief idea. It'll be stock levels, but in the format, what's on hand, what's been booked for orders, because you might not have picked them, and therefore what will be available. That's 1. 2, aging. When did it come in? And how old it has been sitting there? Because the aging will determine how much more expensive it's getting, sitting on the shelf. That's 2. Would they be able to see? I don't want them to see whether we started picking the order or not, because otherwise you're going to have everybody phoning you and say, my order next.
Yeah, absolutely. Understand, yeah.
I don't believe I'll be sending them a lot of technical data. I think what will happen is we'll send them 3 or 4 basic bits of data. And in time, they might be talking to Nuco and saying, can I run a report on the data you've given me to reflect this and this? It's more about reporting later on. For now, it's about getting the data there. So when we run a business, when John and I and Dave run a business, what we look at is inventory levels, what's on order, available, and they don't even have to see verifications because that will adjust. It will be part of inventory. So for the moment, it really, really is just the inventory side. And hopefully, keep in mind, I will be looking for aging analysis. How we do that exactly, we can discuss later. But for now, if we can just get electronic orders in onto the scanning system and have that data transferred to a Nuco server, that's really as basic as we want it now.
Okay, so you mentioned Nuco. Is that a company you're working with, or you just referring to a new company? What you call it a Nuco server? Is this something that you have already in place?
No, we don't have it in place.
Okay, so we would
just a word we're using when we speak of the new server. We call it Nuco server.
Cool. No, okay, that's fine. I made a note of that, and I figured that's what it was. I'm just confirming. Other point was, I've got a lot of ideas running around based on what you spoke about how to make it work the easiest. Your order, you say the orders come to you via email.
Yes.
Is there a standard kind of format that they come in, or is there a possibility to get that standardized in some way?
Yes.
If we can get that standardized, we've done the same sort of thing with your bigger hardware retailers, where they're all running the likes of either Personal Evolution or they're running SAP or whatever. And so when the order comes, it's always exactly the same format. Then it's easy for us to extract and take it out.
Okay, so that I agree with, because it's something that did cross my mind. And since Trade House is a guy that's willing to sort of test the system with us, where there are blips, there won't be any problem. But if you can tell us the format, how you need it to feed through the system, we'll go to Trade House first. We'll say, give us your orders on this format, and then Russell will be able to bring it into our system, onto our system.
Okay. All right, okay, so that's the communication thing between my team and they will be able to get a format we're both happy with, basically.
Yes, between your team and our team, basically.
Okay, so Trade House will be managing the orders. So the orders will be coming through Trade House now. And the reason I'm asking, so they're all coming in a single format, or we're receiving orders from other people as well as Trade House?
No, no. Trade House is a client of ours. So Trade House will capture the order sitting in Petersburg for all I care in the format you tell us you need it.
Yes.
It'll come into our server, Data Fusion, onto our scanners. We'll pick.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then next week, we might go and see, let's say, LRB, the hardware boys.
Yes.
And we'll explain to them, we're going onto electronic ordering system. We need you to meet this criteria. Can you please?
Okay.
And so we go to each and every one. We roll it out slowly.
Yes. Okay. So you're confident that if we dictate a CSV layout, a file, and say, you're confident that if we say to them, this is how we need the orders, you'll be able to get them to go with that.
I'm quite sure we will be able to.
Okay.
I'm sure we'll have a bit of resistance here and there, but that's when I'll come back to you and say, Russell, I don't know why they won't give it to us in our order. I've done medical companies, and they're huge medical companies, and we rolled it back to them. They all complied, and they all came forward again. It's
okay, cool.
Common, eh?
Yeah, it's just, going forward, and from our experience of doing this, that mapping and getting that straightened out can be such a pain in the ass. Whereas if we can get a standard text file that it comes in, it makes everybody's life so much easier, and it eliminates so many mistakes.
We'll make the standard.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. As long as you can move that standard on, because what we've experienced in the past is the likes of Builders Warehouse would come back and say, no, we don't care what you want. This is how you will get it.
No, we're not like that.
Okay, so that's why I'm asking, because I've faced the other side where Builders Warehouse is saying, you'll get it like this. Macro says, you'll get it like this. SPA says, you'll get it like this. Now you've got to create a separate import template for every single one of them, and that's when it gets very gray and fuzzy.
Yeah, in fact, we need to be guided by you. You need to tell us what you need, and we will go and get it 100% like that, or as close as possible, and then we'll work on it. And when we all agree this is 95% of what we can get, then sort of the 95% one becomes our standard with everybody, and we bring them on board.
Cool. Okay. I think one last question on this would be, are you still looking at picking from one location, one warehouse, or is there potential of this being utilized in more than one warehouse by the same company?
No, we're looking at just doing it in DLD for the moment.
At future, obviously growth
May dictate otherwise. Yeah, it might take us to Peter Marisburg or something. But the growth is all being based here at the moment.
Okay. All right. So off the top of my head, looking at what you guys are looking for, I think where you're going is I'm hesitating because I'm not certain, but I'm heading along the lines of we clone Data Fusion and the parts that you use and make it your own one. Because then we can go and we can build it to exactly what you want, but knowing that what's there works already. You know what I mean? All that it's gone through all the trial and error, it's gone through all the testing, it's our standard product. So that now becomes the basis. Then we can instead of it going to Sage to go and get the orders, we can go to the emails, or it'll go here, or it'll go in there to get the emails, and we can then isolate it and isolate it completely from Sage, and we can get it to run completely standalone. We can then introduce the EDM. That's basically what you're referring to, electronic document management. That's the importing of the orders into it. And then within that, the moment, because in the background is already a time, what date was that received? What date and time was that received? When was the order? When was the picking slip generated? Date and time. When was it completed? Date and time. So behind the scenes, you've already got those order trail type set bits of information that are there. When it goes through, right, now this has been picked and has been dispatched, they hit the button. Once we've got that information, you're going to say, right, take this here, and we want to send it to there. That's when we'll just talk to them, and we'll create a single file that they can receive. They then manage that file however they want. You then deal with the reporting from that perspective.
Okay, so you're saying basically we do definitely go standalone on Data Fusion. That's what you're saying.
I'm thinking so, yeah. Take Sage out of the equation if it's not a necessity. You know, if we want,
To me, it's absolutely not a necessity. John and I have discussed this and saying that everything would be so much easier if we didn't go have this link of sending updating Sage all the time. If it just remained in its own little world,
yes.
Well, the minute you do the transaction, it's updated. Well, that's basically where most of our complications have come, is when we do something on Data Fusion and we try and update, say, the balancing of the stocks.
Yeah, because you guys are primarily using it as a stock function. Your workflow is slightly different to what it was originally designed for. But this is fine. We're having this conversation. We unplug it from Sage. We take out all the stuff that you don't need, the manufacturing and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Now we can say, right, based on that, now, instead of it talking to Sage, let's go and make it talk to this email inbox, or we make it go here, we make it go there, and we get the orders directly in there. So that Sage basically disappears. If we choose further down the line to send certain transactions to a different company in Sage, that's easy enough to do. But let's isolate it, because that's going to give us what we want. And then we can decide from there, how far from a shipping tracking perspective do you want to go into it? No, you're happy with that. When the container arrives, you deal with it from that point. You don't want anything before that, or whatever. But you can choose. Then there's no restriction where you're bound by our need to say we've got 50 other users on this. We can't add it because that user. We give you your own one. That falls away.
Yeah.
You know, and we host it on your own server. Between John and I, we can decide, right, that's where it's going to be hosted. This is how it runs. Then you've got full access to all of your data. All those little niggles fall away with any kind of shared platform. So what you're looking for, absolutely possible, and not rocket science. You know, everything. It's more of a time aspect and just understanding the intricacies, but can be done, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So, okay, then what's the next step from here? If we say, okay, this is all cool, we're going to go standalone. What's the next step? And
what
then
sort of timelines?
Yeah, what are the timelines? And number two, what do we have to do, if anything, on our side, or do you just do it from your magic side? And number three, any costs involved, what is that? You must remember, Russell, our intention was always and is still to be a warehouse that is very efficient, but not at these elaborate systems that eventually cost you fortunes of money. I mean, that's not what our style is. Because in South Africa, as far as we're concerned, there's not much growth. And what we have to do is just be a bit more efficient, or give your clients more visibility or something
different,
so that we can steal a piece of somebody else's pie. That's really what we have to go and do.
Yeah.
We don't see the next, 3% economy coming. It's just not there. So everybody's competing for the same thing. And we believe our model between the three of us, if we put in the correct data and allow the clients to view the correct data, that they probably will be able to see what they have to do to be more efficient, and they'll probably drive us to be more efficient.
Absolutely.
It's life.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a nice cycle if you can get into that cycle, because as soon as they show any element of growth, you guys by default you have to go with it. You know.
Well, we know from the irritation factor alone that when you do shipping like we do, you've got to go to one of two shippers you use and get the data off their system. When you've got that and you want to look at the costings, you end up on another system. So and so you're looking at 5 systems just to take a decision.
Yeah.
So it's trying to bring that together. That's really what we're trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And sort of where are we in the beginning? So, when you've got your own standalone version of Data Fusion, if we do want to now tap into the shipping companies, because they would have a specific set of criteria that manages your account, etc. And then you'd be able to go and have a look at that. But that can be something that you can look at in a year's time once you've got the nuts and bolts and that working. Then we look at all the bells and whistles afterwards. But let's get scanning, data moving to the right place, make it accessible to the right people.
Yes.
And then you basically follow their demands. They're going to say, can you give us this? Can you do that? They want timelines from earlier. Then you work that out. If they find what you want is they want something later, but you follow their guide. That's the business sense way of doing it.
And because we stand alone, we can do that now. Whereas with Sage, you've got to always take into consideration what's happening in the big background in Sage.
Yes,
Yeah, no,
absolutely. Okay. All right, Alan, thank you. I think I understand, but that's why the recording is also very useful for something like this. What we will do, I will go and I will, obviously with this, and I'll make the relevant notes, and I'll come up with a budget figure and a timeline, and say, right, this is, and basically an overview. So this is the scope of what's going to happen. We're going to do this, X, Y, Z, A, B, C. Scanning will be included, which we've already built the scanning framework. Ours just talks to a different package. But that's actually, because now all the front end, all the hard work stuff from a goods receiving perspective, a picking perspective, picking, packing, checking, the cycles that you guys would go through, all of that is all in place. Picking slip issuing in a specific sequence. Now we built that in that says, right, so your manager is going to sit there and say, right, pick this order first, this is the sequence you're going to pick it in. When they open it up on the scanner, the next order appears on their scanner. So they can't go and choose, I want to pick this one or that one. Because what tends to happen is they pick the ones that are on ground level that are closest to dispatch. They don't go and get the ones at the other end of the warehouse.
True.
Okay.
True.
So, and the nice part about this is we dealing directly, the company that we've implemented this, they bring in the orders themselves, but they warehouse and distribute. So they're in a different market, but the workflow and everything is identical to what you guys do, which is nice because you're going to benefit from what we've done for them. And as this progresses, they might benefit from some things that we do for you. So in other words, everybody will benefit from it. So we'll put together a high-level proposal with a budget and a timeline and say, look, that's what we think we can do this. We would recommend this phase 1, phase 2. Once we're happy with that, we get an agreement on that. We can then solidify it. And we then say, right, that's a timeline we look at. We go from January to April, January to March, whatever the case is. And once that framework's in place, you decide when you want to pull the trigger. But from the discussion, I think we understand what you're looking for. And as long as we build it with a provision for the additional growth going forward, then you should be able to manage anything that comes up in the next couple of years, and hopefully you get more piece of the pie.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll help with our strategy. I'm very sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I'm satisfied. When you do that proposal and that timeline, just send it to John, please.
I will do. Perfect.
You can do the hard work now. I can go back to
No problem at all. All right, perfect. Adam, thank you. Good to see you again. Thank you, John. Thank you.
Russell, just a quick one. With regards to the server, what would be the suggestion to be able to host this data?
We would look at two options, one being Amazon Web Services and two being AfriHost. So I think it'll depend on the kind of platform that we want to run. There's different technologies that can be used. I think both Amazon Web Services and AfriHost, the hosting uptimes are very, very good. They are top in what they do. So I don't think, but those are the two that I would look at. Give the hosting to the guys that know what they're doing.
No, of course. So will they host all the data, or will we have a server on our premises? Or will they just host everything?
I would put this on a cloud server. So as time progresses, you don't need to worry about any form of scaling, migration, data security. Through the likes of both of those companies, they've got all security policies built in already. When you log in, you have to provide certain credentials to be able to log in. It comes down to accessibility to data and that sort of thing. So that's what I'd look at as one of those two. Price-wise, I think they're going to be 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I think in generally it will run on a SQL Server database, which is as good as it gets. And just make provision that it can host the likes of Data Fusion, which is leaning towards AfriHost side. So you guys go and I'll give you the spec details.
I've never had a problem with them.
Yeah. So I'll just say to you, look, you look at this level of hosting with them. You guys spin it up. you manage the finances on that side. Your arrangement is with them. I don't want to get stuck in the middle with rats and mice. You then give us access, and then we put your data fusion version on there, and we put your database on there, and then we start looking at getting the data in and out from that point.
100%. Happy.
Yeah, but I'll cover this at a high level in the document that comes back to you.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you
Russell.
so much, Russell.
You have a
Really
good day.
appreciate it.
Cool.
Thanks,
Thanks, guys. Have a lucky day. Thanks, Ed. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.